Good evening, friends. Today is Swami Vivekananda's 158th birth anniversary. I'm really touched by Lord his Swamiji's blessings to me, and I actually joined Ramakrishna Mission last month. I went to Kutralam. It's a waterfalls, which is the end of Western Ghats. There are Agastya Hills. At the foothills of Agastya Hills, there is Vivekananda Ashram, Ramakrishna Mutt, and Sharda Ashram, and that's about 5 kilometers from Tenkasi, which is my grandmother's hometown. And from there, I went to Kanyakumari. I did meditation in the Vivekananda Rock Memorial. And on 10th, I did the camp at Sakwar for diabetic retinopathy screening. So today, being the Swami Vivekananda's birthday, I dedicated my day and I started with going to the gateway of India. And Swami Vivekananda's birthday is called National Youth Day celebration. And so this is I myself, Dr. Natarajan, but today I'm talking as a devotee of Ramakrishna Mutt, Ramakrishna Mission, and the volunteer of Ramakrishna Mission and Swami Vivekananda follower. I'm proud of my parents for molding me into this position. My father, late Dr. N.S. Sundaram, grandfather, late Dr. S. Natarajapillai, were government of Tamil Nadu servants, and my father, Dr. N.S. Sundaram's gift to me was education. And my mother, Srimati Kamala, extended all her support for my success. And because of Mata, Pita, Guru, and Mitra, I'm doing well. And this is a photograph of my late parents with me, maybe 2-3 years old, in the same house, which is in Chennai, now, which is in Madras, now called Chennai. I completed my ophthalmology in 1984 and I joined Shankanetralaya. And from 1985 to 1988, I worked in Shankanetralaya. And I started this journey with blessings of Mata, Pita, Guru, Dr. Badrinath, the man who made me, and my best friend, Shivanandan, who is elder to me, but he is everything for me in life, and then God. So with all their blessings and Swami Vivekananda's background all the time, and in the course of the talk, I'll tell what I learned from Swami Vivekananda's teaching for the modern youth. And that's the title today. I've chosen the message from Swami Vivekananda to the modern youth and how me as a youth learned. And this slide, where it says, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached, was in my car, my father's car. It was a Standard 10 MSX 1067 was the car, and it was there in the front near the steering. And every day when I get into the car, I used to read, but I never understood. But it was a great inspiration. And I think it was deeply engraved in my heart, in my mind, and maybe in the soul. So that is there, and I'm happy that Swami Vivekananda's teaching was there in my car. And later in the school, also I did elocution competition, and so happened they gave me the topic on Swami Vivekananda. So the life is a series of experience which one should flow intelligently. The turning point came at a time when I was invited to look after a vitreoretinal wing of a leading hospital, that's Bombay Hospital. And I accepted the offer under two conditions, offering me the head of the vitreoretinal department and providing me accommodation. Here I performed almost 1,000 surgeries, retinal surgeries till 1990. But they did not give me all the equipments what I wanted. A constant inspiration for me is Swami Vivekananda. So what does the young people have to learn? And you can imagine in 1890s, Swami Vivekananda gave all this teaching, and his guru was Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Sharda, the mother. So he said, stand up, be bold, be strong, take the whole responsibility on your shoulders and know that you are the creator of your own destiny. And I think this is the greatest thing I learned. So that means there is no luck. And my mentor, Dr. Badrinath, taught me 99% work with love and passion, 1% inspiration. And that's how myself and my mentor, Dr. Badrinath, are in the two retina surgeons from India or in the Retina Hall of Fame. And what is Retina Hall of Fame? Retina Hall of Fame is actually the World Retina Hall of Fame established in 2016. And they mentioned their duty as a flight, their emblem, from light comes knowledge. So 1851, the instrument called ophthalmoscope was invented by a scientist ophthalmologist called von Helmholtz. And from his time till 2016, the Retina Society, American Society for Retina Specialists, and the top retina experts formed a charter member of Retina Hall of Fame. That means whoever has contributed to the science of retina curing blindness were included. That is from 1851 till 2016, about 242 retina surgeons are there. I am proud of my training, pure Indian training in Madras under Dr. Badrinath, and he's a Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and he is my mentor. I have learned everything from him, and I dedicate my lecture today, which is going to be there in YouTube, in Facebook, and whoever are seeing live, and the entire youth. Maybe you're old, doesn't matter, but if you're youthful, I think I want you to know whatever I am today is because of my father, mother, mentor, Dr. Badrinath, my friend, Mr. Shivanandan, and finally God. And Swami Vivekananda taught that see the God in everybody. That means God is inside. And that's what I learned from Ramana Maharishi, who says instead of seeing outside, see inside. And even Krishna has mentioned about this in Bhagavad Gita. If you want to do and be successful and happy, have God inside in you and do everything. So you cannot go wrong. You will do everything morally right. And that's what I learned. And that's how I'm proud I'm part of the Retina Hall of Fame with all the innovators in retina and the discoveries in the retina. And I'm also part of that. So the your so the your unique thoughts, ideas, and energy give you power. Use that positive power to get more from your life. Your power can lead you to new skills and special accomplishments. And Swami Vivekananda has told the same, that everything, you are the creator of the destiny. So I think you have to remember that every power is coming from you. And there's a thing, philosophy called power of one. We had Dr. Abdul Kalam, who was a great friend. The power of one. He's one man who showed India that you can put rocket in the space, and that's how he was a space scientist. And then Dr. Badrinath created Shankar Nethralaya. Dr. G. Venkataswamy created Arvind Eye Hospital, which is the Arvind Eye Care System in 14 cities in Tamil Nadu. And Dr. Gulapalli Rao, who created LV Prasad and has multiple hospitals in Andhra Pradesh. And it's all power of one. I think one man did it, and same thing from Vivekananda. He was the disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, but you can see there's a Ramakrishna mission and Ramakrishna Mutt, and all the rules are written down. They are mentioned by Swami Vivekananda. So everything is in your power. And he also said, if you meditate your virtues inside a cave, which is a rock cave with no windows, everybody in the world will come to know. You can imagine whatever he taught us between 1890 to 1902 before he died, everybody knows. And today I was lucky. I won't use the word lucky because Swami Vivekananda said no luck. And even Dr. Badrinath told me, I think because of the pure meditative and your intent, and I think the intention, your attitude, that I'm totally dedicated myself to Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and Sharda. I had the opportunity, along with the Assistant Commissioner, Award, and Swamiji, from the chief of Ramakrishna Matkar, I had the opportunity to be there to garland the great Swami Vivekananda. And I thank Swami Vivekananda for permitting me. And I'm so happy in the form of Assistant Director Fire Officer, who was known to me, and he came and introduced me himself, and he said, you also go on garland. And I'm thankful to Swamiji for all the blessing. And so you can see here, Barack Obama in 2008, when he became the President of America, he, in his 20th January in 2008, he says, change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Change we can. And here Swami Sukhabodhananda says, the life most urgent, what are you doing for others? And he says, you have to do human service to the needy and underprivileged. And that's the same thing Swami Vivekananda said. And This is Gandhiji. Each and every one of us have the power to change the world for good. And so happened, the place where I went in the Gateway of India, we have the same place when Gandhiji landed from in 1915 from South Africa with Kasturba in the same place nearby. And there is a plaque, marble kept there, and that's a place in 1971. The statue was installed because in 1893, December 26th, I think Swami Vivekananda left Bombay and went to Chicago for giving his famous lecture in the World Religion Conference. And all are there. And see what Gandhiji has said. Each and every one of us have the power to change the world for good. We can all affect the world in a positive way. If we just put our minds to it, we can all be noticed. Just think a little longer on your decisions and actions. What are you doing to be noticed? What are you doing to make the world a better place? As Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. And Mother Teresa, in her own word, do not wait for leaders, do it alone, person to person. Mother Teresa taught us by her sample that what it really means to live the gospel. And this is Martin Luther King. I have a dream. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. So that means total surrender to the Lord. And whatever you do, you keep a faith and you take the first step, saying that your intention is good and you know it. And then even if you don't know how many steps are there and what, and I think you can do that. And this is what Martin Luther King Jr. said. And we have our own Anna Hazare. He's mentioned, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. And the concept of humble leadership. These people took a humble position, and there are people in the business committee who term this as humble leadership. There are level 5 leaders who practice two distinct qualities, namely genuine personal humility and intense professional will. And I'm trying to imbibe all this and do in my practice. And you can see here Dr. Abdul Kalam with my best friend, Mr. Shivanandan, who's visited Ayodhya several times, and when he was the president of India. And this is on when he finished his president, he came to inaugurate the van, the mobile diabetic screening van in 2012. And bigger than life image. Often we think of leaders as bigger than life people who steer the course for armies, countries, and large corporations. In reality, many of the world's most influential leaders are individuals with passion, persistence, courage to step up and take responsibility for making things happen. So today, I promise you, the young youth of India, like we had our Prime Minister and Mr. Government of India program, along with the Ramakrishna Mutt, and I pray the Ramakrishna Mission and the Mutt that we will. I'm just checking the internet. For giving me the permission, like in the sense I got the opportunity to give a talk, and so I wanted to say that with I practice 6 P's: passion, persistence, perfection, prayer, patience, and precision. So the 6 P's, I think you can take the responsibility for making things happen. And I want to promise that I am taking a vow as the chairman of All India Ophthalmic Society Diabetic Retinopathy Screening and Awareness Committee that we will screen 77 million diabetics in the coming 5 years and have a program called Diabetic Retinopathy Blindness Free India 2025. That means in 5 years, we'll screen all of them, and so that we will prevent diabetic blindness. And one day, I hope we can remove the word blind from the dictionary. And that's my dream. And from great leaders like Nelson Mandela, who almost single-handedly saved his nation, South Africa, from a destructive civil war, to a child who donates his allowance to charity, each of us alone have the power to affect change. So I hope, gentlemen and the ladies here and the girls and boys, that you should get this power and make sure you are that person. It's not that I'm asking a question. I'm actually conveying the message from Swami Vivekananda. You are that person, and I make sure that you have the power to affect the change and let your voice be heard. I hope my voice is heard to you, one and all, and I hope one day my talk, what I'm giving now, will also motivate me, will also make me do, and I walk the talk And I also practice what I preach, and I preach what I practice. Stand up for what you believe, expressing your opinions. And take the high road. Leadership is about making the place where you are better. It's about sticking up for those who can't stick up for themselves. It's about envisioning the way things ought to be. Be a positive influence. We all have role models, people we admire, emulate, and learn. For me, the role model is Swami Vivekananda. In 1890, he went and spoke in Chicago. Every day, or not every day, many times I hear that speech, what he has spoken in Chicago. Today morning also, I listened to him. Many leaders are considered great, not only because of what they themselves achieved, but because of their abilities to bring out the greatness in others. And as scholar and poet William Arthur Ward said, when we seek to discover the best in others, we somehow bring out the best in ourselves. So I am trying to bring the best in my people around me. I motivate them. Today, I have motivated my secretary, Shubha. I hope she's watching. And my IT guy, Samir, and Mr. Rahul, and Mr. Raman, and the entire people in Entod. I'm glad that I just gave my intention, and the entire team in Entod and Rahul has made this possible. And never underestimate the impact you can have on another person. I'm glad I could make an impact on the team of Entod. And if I couldn't talk to Mr. Kishore Masurkar, who's the chairman, and Nikhil Masurkar, who's traveling, I'm grateful to you both that you have left Entod to me. And thanks to Mr. Raman, who meant, and then Mr. Vivek Tiwari, who could definitely understand my intention, even though I was out till the outside, and then I was busy till 5:55. And I'm glad at 6:05 we have started this talk. With one gesture or comment, you can change someone's day, or even his or her life for better or worse. So I decided with my gesture, my comment, I want to change someone's day and even his or her life from today. So I want to make it better, and I hope everybody who listens to me are having they are already remembering. And I just wanted to check with the Rahul and Vivek in case Mr. any other person from Young Ophthalmic Society of India is there in the waiting. You can take them. And I actually told Dr. Aishwarya to be joined there. And in case I want to know if there are any questions coming, I request Vivek and Raman. So you can interrupt me and I can answer the question, so that instead of monotonous, I can have some questions and answer. And the other is do the right thing even when no one is looking. And that's the most important. Doing the right thing is more than simply not doing the wrong thing. It is making a conscious choice in favor of something that upholds your ethical beliefs, values, and standards. A strong leader does the right thing when it's not convenient, when no one is looking, and when everyone around them is doing something else. And right now, I am only looking at my screen, where I don't know who's I was seeing and who's watching. And that's because I finished my work and started this immediately. So, and William Arthur Ward said, do more than belong, participate. Do more than care, help. Do more than believe, practice. Do more than be fair, be kind. Do more than forgive, forget. Do more than dream, work. So, and my thing is from dreams to destiny. And as Swami Vivekananda says, you create the destiny. You are your own hand. You create it. Make little things count. It's easy to be lulled into thinking one person's action or decisions don't really matter. After all, what difference could it make to recycle a few cans a week? How could donating one winter coat to the homeless shelter possibly help the hundreds in need? Who cares if you pick up a piece of trash from the sidewalk instead of stepping over it? These small things can make a big difference, especially when multiplied by the millions of people who face similar choices each and every day. And this is what Swami Vivekananda said. You be bold and do it. And I think you do it, and everybody looking at you will follow it. At least for me, I have 100 staff or maybe 150 staff who can follow. And we have 100 leadership development alumni in All India Ophthalmic Society, 100 alumni in Aditya Jyot Eye Hospital. Then there are about 1,000 alumni in Shankarnath alumni, for which I am the president. And I am the past president of All India Ophthalmic Society, which is again almost 23,000 members. And then we also have the Organized Medicine Academic Guild, for which I am president, around 150,000 doctors. I hope all of them will have a chance to see. If they may not be seeing live, they can all see it and then keep doing this. In summary, everyone can become a better leader. It is important to keep in mind that the higher you go up the leadership scale, the longer it takes to accomplish results. The higher the commitment will be, it is imperative that we know what level we are on with our people and the company. And here we have a eye screening on wheels using the Forest 3 Netra fundus camera, where we can see in the lower right and bottom, you have my grandmother cutting the ribbon and my father holding in the bike, and myself, Mr. Ravichandran, Dr. Radhika, Mr. Shivanand are there, and also Mr. K. Chandrasekhar between me and Shivanandan in the bottom left photograph, where we carry the fundus camera, which is seen on the top right, where inside the bike, and we can go anywhere in the smallest lane, which was inaugurated on 1st March 2014, which was the first project in the world. I'm glad that we are able to do this. We also established the research for vision for the blind. I hope one day we will make the blind shall see. And this is our Aditya Institute for Vision Sciences and Research. And we are also having many projects going on. And we also have students in optometry, where they are studying 4-year baccalaureate in optometry, and then we have a fellowship in retina, and there are we also have the DNB Diploma and National Board. So the whole idea is every day I want to teach so that it can be a flowing river where people can drink the knowledge and take more. So this was just an SMS came about 25 years back. I made a slide, 7 secrets of success. I found the answers in my room. Roof said, aim high. Fan said, be cool. Clock said, every minute is precious. Mirror said, reflect before you act. Window said, see the world. Calendar said, be up to date. Door said, push hard to achieve your goals. And then positive thinking and smiling and standing tall up emphasizes positive thoughts you have. It will reduce stress and improve self-esteem. So always sit erect. I'm doing the webinar, sit erect. If you're giving in a podium, stand tall. Problems of life are not really out there. They're all in here. Everything is decided in and by the mind. So friends, make sure your mind is clear. This is what I mentioned, the 6 P's, which in addition to the what I mentioned. And this is there in the secret book, which is actually a replica or a matter which is given in our Sanskrit, which is given thousands of years back. Whatever is going on in your mind is what you are attracting. We are like magnets. Like attract, like you become attract what you think. And this is there in Sanskrit. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. You become what you think. World is manifestation of our inner state. Perceived reality eventually becomes manifested reality. We perceive a thought containing a change or emotion, and the process, if creation is set into motion, an arrow has been released into ethereal planes or the thought sphere. Think positive. Today morning, the Gateway of India witnessed the garlanding of Swami Vivekananda statue by Swami Satyadevanji, the Ramakrishna Matkar, Assistant Commissioner Srimati Chanda Jadhav ji, A Ward, Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai, and myself. And you can see here myself and Swami Satyadevanand ji. In the background, you see the well decorated by flowers by the Municipal Corporation of Mumbai, and you see also the fire officer, Assistant Director, Mr. Parab. And I'm glad with the 2 Swamijis, and I was happy to go and garland. And you can see the background Gateway of India, and it's really nice that in the gateway there are a lot of things that happen. I just want to read that. So the majestic Gateway of India has been a witness to several important historical events for over a century, and that's the place you can see here. And while on one side of the monument is the Arabian Sea, on the other side faces the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. Just between the Gateway of India and Taj Mahal Palace is the grand statue of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and the legendary Maratha warrior king. Behind it has the statue of Swami Vivekananda, which you are seeing here, and who introduced Indian philosophies of Vedanta and Yoga to the Western world. In fact, the Gateway of India in South Mumbai is one of the most photographed places in the world. And the Gateway of India and the Apollo Bandar has a very unique history. The Gateway of India was built to celebrate and honor the visit of King George V and Queen Mary to India for their formal proclamation of the Emperor and Empress of India at the Delhi Darbar in December 1911. And the foundation stone for monument was laid by Sir George Sydenham Clark, the governor of Bombay, on March 31, 1911, at what was a crude jetty used by the fishing community. A cardboard model of the proposed structure was presented to the royal visitors, and the final design of Scottish architect George Whitted was sanctioned on March 31, 1914. The formal inauguration of the Gateway of India was done by the Viceroy of India, Rufus Isaacs, Earl of Reading, on December 4, 1924, because 1911 to 1915 was the Second World War. And the Scottish architect George Whitted combined the elements of the Roman triumphal arch and the 16th century architecture of Gujarat. Its design is a combination of Hindu and Muslim architectural styles. The arch is of a Muslim style, while the decorations are of the Hindu style. The gateway is built from yellow basalt and reinforced concrete. The Gateway of India has its own significance in Mumbai's history and India's history, said veteran Gandhian and activist Jatin Desai. In the past also, there had been many gatherings here. One of the rich aspects of the history is that when on January 9, 1915, Mahatma Gandhi returned to India after 22 years of stay in South Africa, he landed in the Gateway of India, Appalabandar area. The gateway is also the monument from where the British troops left India in 1948 following Indian independence, took reference from the internet. So my inspiration, Swami Vivekananda. So this I read in the website of Ramakrishna Mission Tribal Welfare Center, and which is there in Sakwar in Palghar district, which is about 150 kilometers on the Western Express Highway. My inspiration, Swami Vivekananda, first feel from the heart. Are you seized with what one idea of the misery of ruin, and have you forgotten all about your name, your fame, found any way out, any practical solution? In your quarter, there are lots of people, poor people sunk in degradation and misery. And this is what my father taught me. That's how I started my foundation in 2005. You will have to go to them and serve them with your zeal and enthusiasm. So that's what my father said. And I am glad to see Swami Vivekananda said this in 1895. Arrange to distribute medicine to those who are sick. I am taking our eye care. And nurse them with all care. Supply food. I'm glad my friend Shivanandan has listened to this, and he formed the food, they call the Roti Bank you see here, which was formed about 2 years back by him. He's the founding managing trustee, along with myself as a founding trustee, and Mr. Sushil Jivarajka. Swami Vivekananda mentioned, supply food to him who is starving. And I think Mr. Shivanandan's concept is that we are feeding 10,000 people a day. The whole idea is if you feed a hungry child, you are feeding him so that if the hunger goes away, his temptation of stealing a bread or a bun or biscuits is gone. And if he doesn't have to steal, he will not steal anything. And that's what is Shivanandan's concept, being a police officer, retired. He has made this so that we prevent any crime and teach with as much as lies in you, the ignorant. And if you begin to serve your brethren in this wise, I tell you, my child, and this is what Swami Vivekananda is telling the youth, you'll surely get peace and consolation. I got that. And Sunday, whole day I spent in Ramakrishna Mission. And on behalf of the 158th anniversary, we did a free diabetic retinopathy camp. And I saw Dr. Chandrakala, who's working there for the last 20 years. Every week, she's going from a car and by the bus, which goes regularly to the Sakwar, and in the Ramakrishna Mutt from car is maintaining and doing the functions of the Ramakrishna Tribal Center. And I am so glad to see it is in Palghar. And thanks to our former CEO of the foundation, Dr. Radhika, who has created a team at Palghar. Thanks to the then Health Minister, Dr. Deepak Sawant, who allowed me and also the Principal Secretary for Health, Dr. Vyas, and the Directorate of Medical Education and Medical Services, that we have a MOU from Aditya Jyoth Foundation for Twinkling Light with the government of Maharashtra, and also with the thanks to the municipal commissioner, now the current commissioner, Mr. Chal, who's my friend, and also so many assistant commissioners who are known to me, Mr. Kiran Digaokar, and today I met Award Assistant Commissioner, and all of them, because we have a MOU with the Bombay Municipal Corporation, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai, to serve all the diabetic centers. So again, I reiterate my promise to India, how Swami Vivekananda went to Rock Memorial and meditated and looked at India and said, "Oh, my mother India, I'm here to look at you." And he meditated. And actually, he became, and all the Tamilians learned to meditation apart from the previous, whatever they've learned from looking at Swami Vivekananda. And he walked and went to Rameshwaram and to Kumbakonam by train and then to Madras, from where he got the friends who motivated him to go to the Chicago conference. And then everybody knows the history, the Rajas and the kings from Rajasthan and the Shahs of Mumbai. Many people have funded Swami Vivekananda, and he took the ship, and that's what is the commemoration statue, which we went and garland. I was with the tears of joy when I garlanded, because I never expected I could go rise up to that tall statue. And he said, stand tall, and I'm emotional even now. And I think thankful that when your intention is so good and so intense, and it'll happen. So I know we can remove diabetic blindness from India. It looks impossible, and the word impossible has I am possible. And you can see, thanks to Dr. Hitesh Sharma, consultant ophthalmologist, and Swamiji, who's there, who's looking after the Ramakrishna Mission Rural Health and Welfare Project. And you can see the hill behind, where there is a fort created by Shivaji Maharaj, and I believe he was coming there. And I also crossed from this Palghar, from the Sakwar to Rajweshwari. On the way, I went to Ganeshpuri, saw the Gurudev Nityananda Ashram, and there's a Shiva temple where he took a board and he took a samadhi in 1961, and he was only in Langoti and teaching people about meditation and look inwards. And you can see in the function Swamiji talking to me, and he was looking for me, and he didn't realize I'm sitting next to him. He thought, since you are a Padma Shri and a big doctor, you will come with this and that. And I said, I've come as a devotee of Swami Vivekananda, and that's what you're seeing there. You can see Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Sharda Mother, and Swami Vivekananda. Thanks to all of them and the blessing, I'm able to serve the people. And this is our Aditya Jyot Foundation for Think Little have today presented Ramakrishna Mission Hospital at Kar with one non-mediatic Remedio camera called Fundus on Phone for diabetic retinopathy screening. This is part of my initiative to prevent needless blindness, which Dr. Venkateswamy always tells, due to diabetes. And I'm thankful to my team, Mr. Mohan Hindpur. You can see the Ramakrishna Mission Hospital, and we have an entire team today. Meenakshi is there who's coordinating. I'm proud of this boy who's handling Mr. Nilesh, and he's a 9th standard pass, but he does not know to read English. He can handle the offline artificial intelligence in the mobile phone which he's handling. So, and this is Roti Bank, but my Mr. D. Shivanandan and his best friend Dr. Karthikeyan is there. So Swami Vivekananda said, Mahakavi Bharati said, everybody said, feed the children or feed the people who are hungry. And you can see me giving food to a small boy. I'm actually giving orange and apple to them, and I'm serving food. And we are happy to serve. And actually, because of a surgery, and my hands are very soft, but I had to use force to serve rice. But I think it's a joy to serve. And I think, and the joy, because people are actually coming and taking. I thank God. I thank Swami Vivekananda for giving me the opportunity to serve them, because many people look well-to-do, in the sense, what I meant is they wear a decent clothes, they may have a shelter, but they come and take food. So I think when you are ready to give food, I think you have people ready to take it. So you can see that full thing. Thanks to my best friend Shivanandan, who had this concept, was created a beautiful kitchen. And many times me and Shivanandan, when we go to taste, we finish our lunch. And I think we eat the same lunch which is being served to the people on the road outside KM Hospital or the cancer hospital, Tata Memorial Hospital. I think the same food we have. You can imagine what a great food. So I think I'm very happy I'm able to be a part of this foundation. And then a man finds fault in others, and after bringing down his own mind to that level. And does anything ever happen to another if you enumerate his faults? it only injures you. This has been my attitude. Hence, I cannot see anybody's faults. Mother, I am learning when I am presenting this. If a man does a trifle for me, I try to remember him even for that. To see the faults of others, one should never do it. Forgiveness is tapasya. Holy Mother, Sri Sarada Devi. It's a great learning. I'm sorry, I'm emotional because many times I look at others' faults. I hope from now I will not look at anybody's faults. If the poor cannot come to education, education must go to them. And I think that's what Swami Vivekananda said. If you practice spiritual discipline for some time in a solitary place, you will find that your mind has become strong and you can live in any place or society without being in the least affected by it. Actually, I lost my grandmother on October 8th. She lived 103 years. And I listened to Swami and I listened to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, whose Jayanti was on December 31st, 2020. It was 140th Jayanti, like today's 158th Jayanti of Swami Vivekananda. And surprisingly, I'm doing this spiritual discipline in a solitary place, which I don't tell anybody, but I'm confessing today. And I did it for my own benefit because I was lost suddenly because I lost my grandmother. Even though I was looking after her, maybe I don't know what she was teaching me. I don't know who was looking after her, whether she was looking after me. But I think I was looking after physically, but I think as a soul, as Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Swami Vivekananda, Krishna has told this to Arjun in Bhagavad Gita, and Ramakrishna and Ramana Paramahamsa said before the death, he says, okay, you are telling this body is going to die, you're going to burn the body. You're going to burn the body into ashes. But I'm here. Why are you crying? I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to be here. So I think people did not understand what he said. What he said is the soul never dies and it's there. And that's the same thing. And Sri Sarada Devi is teaching us, when the plant is a tender, it should be hedged around. But when it has grown big, not even cows and goats can endure it. Spiritual practices in a solitary place are essential. And that's what happened. Wherever I go, I have a chance to do this spiritual practice in a solitary place. I know as a youth, you'll all feel, why should I do it now? Why I should do it when you become in my age. My friends, I want to tell you, you think about it because I don't want to force. But I didn't do that when I was young. I'm doing it now. And that after also doing a busy practice of operating, seeing patients and traveling every 2 days. But I was praying while I was in the flight. I was meditating when I was in the flight, not in a solitary place, but I was in the plane sitting and I used to do that because I was traveling for more than 15, 20 hours, many trips. So I think I did that. But I want to tell, you can practice spiritual discipline. I think you will be happy. As you say that when the tree is become like a plant becomes a tree, the cows and goats cannot injure because it's so big. Same thing you become. Nobody can injure you. So I think we have to attain this stage, and I think I have attained this thanks to the mother for the teaching. And I want you to say that today the temple was closed, but there's a mother's temple in Car opposite the Ramakrishna Mission Hospital in the 12th Road, Car. And this is my favorite statement. I love this. Take up one idea, make that 1 year idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. So you know what is my idea? Without realizing, I'm just realizing when I'm talking to you that at the age of 8, when I met my father's friend, Mr. V.G. Panirdas, who runs that big concern called VGP, which is there is a VGP Golden Beach in Madras, which is one of the longest beach in the world, one of the longest beach, not the. And he told me, brother, why not you convert your dream into a prayer and use that? And he told the same in different words. And I think it was registered. What he said is, you make the dream into a prayer. So daily my prayer to God was, even though my father and grandfather did not teach me that, but that Mr. Vijay Pandita's uncle taught me, and Swami Vivekananda's teaching has indirectly taught me that time, but now I am understanding well. So my prayer in 1965, that means when I was 8 years old, the 1965 is 56 years back. You can imagine. And my prayer was I should become an internationally renowned good ophthalmologist. And it was my prayer in Tamil. நான் ஒரு உலக புகழ்பெற்ற கண் மருத்துவராக வர வேண்டும். Even then, when my father and grandfather did not travel abroad, but I don't know how that idea came. And Swami Vivekananda says, when you're meditating on an idea or on a virtue, I think the whole world will come to know. It has happened in me. And I'm just realizing only now, at my 63 years of age, let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea and just leave every other idea alone. And this is the way to spiritual success for a saint, he is written. And I think I have learned this thanks to Swamiji for the wonderful teaching. And this is another thing which I learned today. Swamiji gave me Vedanta Kesari, who's the doctor himself, who's a Swamiji in RKM Mission Hospital. And I'll just tell his name. Pravakta Maharaj, who's running the hospital. Let people say whatever they like, stick to your own convictions, and rest assured the world will be at your feet. I think I'm feeling that. They say, have faith in this fellow or that fellow. But Swami Vivekananda says, have faith in yourself first. That's the way. So I believe myself. So when I ask a question to the patients, do you believe God? And sometimes they say no. So nowadays I'm changing my question. Do you have belief in yourself? Because Swami Vivekananda said, which everybody knows, God is within you. So ask your question whether are you believing yourself. And this is another thing which I learned. You must not throw cold water on anybody's project. Give up criticism altogether. Help all as long as you find they are doing all right. And in our cases where they seem to be going wrong, show them their mistakes gently. And it is criticizing each other that is at the root of all mischief, and that is the chief factor in breaking down organizations. And this is a great learning, and this came as a lesson, because I think without realizing I've criticized people. So I confess, I learned that today onwards I promise that to look inwards, and I will not criticize others. And I also want to go back to that slide where I became emotional, and Dr. Radhika has just walked in. Dr. Radhika, I became emotional, and I was in tears, and I was crying. So I just want to tell this here. Where is that? So, no, not this. So, Dr. Radhika, this is what I confessed in my talk, that Sarada, Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi has read, man falls in others after bringing down his own mind to that level. I think I never realized it. I realized it just now. Does anything ever happen to another if you enumerate his faults? And I think I've been telling that. It only injures you. I didn't realize that. It has been injuring me. And this has been my attitude, sad. And so hence I cannot see anybody's faults. And I think great learning from Sri Sarada Devi. I'm glad Mr. Dalmia was just calling me. I have not picked up the phone. He said he will arrange me to visit Sarada Devi's place in Dakshineshwar. If a man does a trifle for me, and what a great teaching, I try to remember him even for that. And I learned something, but I didn't learn. To see the faults of others, one should never do it. Forgiveness is tapasya. So I ask forgiveness from mother and you. So, and I think, what's the time? It's about 7. So I almost talked for an hour. So I hope, I don't know who's going to ask me questions. So I don't know, others have not logged in. So this is another famous quote, which what Swami Vivekananda said: "They alone live who live for others." And I proudly say this. And the second line, which is not here, because one of my mentor, Dr. Babu Rajendran, who is no more now, he mentioned me. I don't like the second statement, but that's a fact. Even Thiruvalluvar has said that they alone live who live for others. Rest are equivalent to death. So, my young youth of India, I'm asking you, like Swami Vivekananda asked, are you working for others? It's not, I think he is not mentioned, don't work for yourself. Work for yourself. But ask a question for yourself. Are you working only for yourself? What is the meaning of yourself? You're working for yourself, your family, your own kith and kin, but not anybody else. So, my youth, I want to tell you that I want you to work for others. Apart from working for others, first you work for yourself. And we have a saying, a great saying by Avayar. Avayar was uh, Avayar is a great poetess who lived 2000 years ago. She said, Tanaku minjidan danam. That means you serve the poor when you are okay. That means you first look after yourself, then you do the donation or dan, anything. It may be food, it may be money, it may be service. So first look after yourself, be healthy, both mentally, physically, and then service. And I think Swami Vivekananda has mentioned that. And Radhika, can you call somebody to find out anybody is logging in? Or can you call Divakant Mishra here? So in the meantime, any questions, Vivek Tiwari and Rahul? Vivek? Uh, Anybody? Rahul? Okay. So this is a famous book I keep in my hand, which okay, fine. I'm So this is a old. I carry this daily. Thus spake Vivekananda, which is published by Sri Ramakrishna Mutt from Chennai. But the main thing is the book is looking very old because I'm using it daily. So I'm reading a chapter called Shraddha. This is because of the patients I'm dealing. Shraddha, faith. He is an atheist who does not believe in himself. It's a wonderful definition, which he has told in the Chicago conference. Those of you who have studied that most beautiful of all the Upanishads, the Katha, will remember how Vajrasravas was going to make a great sacrifice. And instead of giving away things that were of any worth, he was giving away cows and horses that were not of any use. And the book says that at that time, Shraddha entered into the heart of his son, Nachiketa. I would not translate this word, Shraddha, to you. It would be a mistake. It's a wonderful word to understand, and much depends on it. We will see how it works. For immediately we find Nachiketa telling himself, I am a superior to many, I am inferior to a few, but nowhere am I the last, I can also do something. And this boldness increased, and the boy wanted to solve the problem which was in his mind, the problem of death. The solution could not only be got by going to the house of death, and the boy went. There he was brave Nachiketa, waiting at the house of death for 3 days, and you know how he obtained what he desired. This Shraddha must enter into you. Whatever of material power you see manifested by the Western races is the outcome of this Shraddha, because they believe in their muscles and you believe in your spirit. How much more will it work? So, what is the answer for India? You believe you are a rich country. You believe there are no poor people. You believe there are no huts. You believe there are no slums. Don't you think it will happen? It will happen. And that's what Swami Vivekananda's interpretation for the West. This Shraddha is what I want. That's Swami Vivekananda saying. And what all of us are here want is faith in ourselves. And before you is the greatest task to get that faith. Give up the awful disease that is creeping into our national blood. That idea of ridiculing everything, that loss of seriousness. How many people ridicule Dharavi? I have started a clinic thanks to my father in 2005, thanks to the entire team for the last 15 years, which was headed by earlier Mr. Vaidyanathan, my father, then Dr. Radhika, and then many of the trustees who are there, who are standing behind us even today. So faith, sympathy, fairy faith, and fairy sympathy. Faith, faith, faith in ourselves. Faith, faith in God. This is the secret of greatness. I remember that grand word of Katha Upanishad, Shraddha, or marvelous faith. What English Swami Vivekananda has written? To preach the doctrine of Shraddha or genuine faith is the mission of my life. And I think I read every time it looks new to me, but it's great. I'm understanding some extra meaning. The meaning is same, but I think you have to get it because you are in what context you are reading, whether your mind is empty, so that you can absorb. So today, in spite of all my busy schedule, right now my mind is only to 100% Shraddha with Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, and Sharada. And let me repeat to you that this faith is one of the potent factors of humanity and of all religions. First, have faith in yourself, and do not look up to the rich and great men who have money. The poor did all the great and gigantic works for the world. Be steady, and above all, be pure and sincere to the backbone. Have faith in your destiny, and you know you can create your destiny. That's what Swami Vivekananda said, and I have done that. I came as an ordinary eye doctor, trained by Dr. Badrinath. No, I won't say ordinary eye doctor, trained as a retina surgeon, and I was one of the youngest vitreoretinal surgeons, trained in 1988, and operating thousands of surgeries. I've done more than the cataract surgeons in India that time, and I may be the youngest vitreoretinal surgeon. But I came bold, and I didn't know Hindi, I didn't know Marathi, I didn't know Gujarati, I didn't have friends. I didn't have relatives. I didn't have guru. I didn't have mentor in Bombay. Everything was in Madras. And I was a pure Madras make. In 88, Madras was Madras. And in Bombay was Bombay. Only now it's changed to Mumbai. And that has changed to Chennai a few years later. So what I want to convey is the faith. I'm thankful to my mother, my father, my mentor, Dr. Badrinath, my guru, my friend, Dr. Mr. Shivanandan, and God all the time. Because Krishna told, either you give up all the senses and surrender to me, and then you will get moksha. And the other way, he said, if you can't do that, for example, I wanted to confess, I still like spicy food. What is that meaning? I still have touch to the sensation. And I think the one sense is the tasting. And I think the five senses you have to give up, which I don't know when I will do. I think I hope one day I will do it. But I am also enjoying the worldly life. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa statement I read in Kutralam Ramakrishna Mutt and in Vivekananda Ashram. What was written? He says, hold God in one hand and do the worldly activity in one hand, and you'll be happy. And what did Swami Vivekananda teach there? He taught me that if you want to be happy, tie your tongue. And what did Ramakrishna Paramahansa said? You don't have to talk. You just keep quiet. Everybody will come to know. And same thing Swami Vivekananda has taught. You can imagine I'm talking non-stop 1 hour. And I think that's because I'm just wanted to probably confess to the whole world that I've learned a lot. But I think still what I learned is the size of the fist. And what I not learned is the size of the universe. And that's what I'm trying to learn. So you can imagine how much you will learn, still you have to learn new. This faith in themselves was in hearts of our ancestors. This faith in themselves was the motive power that pushed them forward and forward in the march of civilization. And if there has been degeneration, and if there has been defect, mark my words, you'll find degradation to have started on the day our people lost this faith in themselves. Losing faith in oneself means losing faith in God. What a brilliant statement. Not only statement, he lived by it. I think it takes, for me, 63 years of age to understand this. What did I learn in the West? This is what Swami Vivekananda. And what did I see behind those frothy sayings of the Christian sects repeating that man was a fallen and hopelessly fallen sinner? There I saw that inside the national hearts of both Europe and America resides the tremendous power of the men's faith in themselves. An English boy will tell you, I am an Englishman and I can do anything. And they rule the world. And the American boy will tell you the same thing, and so will any European boy. And Swami Vivekananda is questioning India in 1890s, and I am questioning on behalf of Swami Vivekananda, not behalf, as a servant of Vivekananda. Can our boys say the same thing here? No, not even the boys' fathers. We have lost faith in ourselves, and it's holding good today. After 1890, that means 131 years, we are same. Why can't we change? As Gandhiji said, be the change. And why can't we follow Barack Obama, who's living? And he said, you see the whatever, and he quoted Gandhiji, and he did it in 2008. And there's not one system in India which does not hold the doctrine that God is within, that divinity resides within all things. And in spite of all that, I scold people. And I have to remember self, God is inside. Every one of our Vedantic systems admits that all purity and perfection and strength are in the soul already. The idea of faith in ourselves is of the greatest help to us. If faith in ourselves had been more extensively taught and practiced, I am sure a very large proportion of the evils and miseries that we would have vanished. I hope the evils will vanish from now and people to believe themselves. Throughout the history of mankind, if any motive power has been more potent than another in the lives of all great men and women, it is that of faith in themselves. Born with the consciousness that they were to be great, they became great. So, friends, youth, become great. Everybody is great. Never quarrel about religion. All quarrels and the disputations concerning religion simply show that spirituality is not present. Religious quarrels are always over the husks. When spirituality goes leaving the soul dry, quarrels begin and not before. Do not care for doctrines, do not care for dogmas or sects or churches or temples. They count for little compared with the essence of existence in each man, which is spirituality. And the more this is developed in a man, the more powerful is he for good. Earn that first, acquire that, and criticize no one. That is another lesson from Vivekananda. I think I have to learn. I'm learning today. I think many times unknowingly I've criticized. Pardon me, God. I seek forgiveness. Show by your life that religion does not mean words or names or sex, but that is means spiritual realization. Sincerity of conviction and purity of motive will surely gain the day. And even a small minority armed with these is surely destined to prevail against all odds. Truth, purity, and unselfishness, that these are present, there is no power below or above the sun to crush the possessor thereof. Equipped with these, one individual is able to face the whole universe in opposition. Arise, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. I am happy to say this statement was made by Swami Vivekananda in the Kumbakonam railway station, which is there in the plaque, and it is in the golden words edged there. And I think I went to Kumbakonam and saw that in March, and it was, I think, probably in the 1890s. And he's also made, what happened, Dr. Radhika? Okay. Okay. So Vivekananda has made a call to India. Oh, India, forget not that your deal of the womanhood is Sita, Savitri, Damayanti. Forget not that the god thou worship is the greatest ascetic of ascetics, than all renouncing Sankara, the Lord of God. Forget not that thy marriage, thy wealth, thy life are not for sense pleasure or not for the individual personal happiness. Forget not that thou art born as a sacrifice to the mother's altar. Forget not that the social order is but the reflex of infinite universal motherhood. Forget not that the lower class, the ignorant, the poor, the illiterate, the cobbler, the sweeper, are thy flesh and blood, are thy brothers. Thou brave one, be bold, take courage, be proud that thou art an Indian, and proudly proclaim, I am Indian, every Indian is my brother. And I think, say, the ignorant Indian, the poor and the destitute Indian, the Brahmin Indian, the pariah Indian is my brother. Thou, too clad with that but a rag around thy loins, proudly proclaim at the top of thy voice, the Indian is my brother, the India is my life, India's gods and goddesses are my God, India's society is the cradle of my infancy, the pleasure garden of my youth, the sacred heaven, the Varanasi of my old age. Say, brother, the soil of India is my highest heaven, the good of India is my good, and repeat and pray day and night, O thou Lord of Gauri, O thou Mother of the universe, vouchsafe manliness unto me, O thou Mother of strength, take away my weaknesses, take away unmanliness, and make me a man. O India, this is your terrible danger. The spell of imitating the West is getting such a hold upon you that what is good or what is bad is no longer decided by reason, judgment, discrimination, or reference to the Shastras. Whatever ideas, whatever manners the white men praise or like are good, whatever things they dislike or censure or bad. Alas, what can be a more tangible proof of foolishness than this? With this mere echoing of others, I think we have to do that. I am now deciding that we will teach the world what is the good we learned, whether it's a retina surgery by a retina surgeon like me, or an artist, or an architect, or actor, actress, spirituality, name it. I mean, any profession, I think India can teach anybody. What can be a more tangible proof of foolishness than? And remember always that there is not in the world any other country whose institutions are really better in their aims and objectives than the institutions of this land, Mother India. I have seen caste in almost every country in the world, but nowhere is their plan and purpose so glorious as here. If caste is thus unavoidable, I would rather have a caste of purity and culture and sacrifice than a caste of dollars. Therefore, our solution of the caste question is not degrading those who are already high up, is not running amok through food and drink, is not jumping out of our own limits in order to have more enjoyment, which comes by every one of us fulfilling the dictates of our Vedantic religion, by our attaining spirituality, and by our becoming the ideal Brahmin. And I think you can not only read, you have to imbibe and follow whatever you can. And he mentioned about our women, and I think many things about how a youth should be. So my request to every youth is you can I will give my email ID, which is prof dot. I will just share it. Whoever wants can make a note. So can you see the screen? How to add a slide? How to make a new slide? File? Edit. Where is it? File. I want to make a new slide.
Yeah.
New slide. Can you Tiwari? Sorry, Vivek or Rahul?
Sir?
You can see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm writing my email ID. So that whoever has any questions can write the questions by email. So you can see the email ID. So I request and I repeat, my email ID is prof.drsn@gmail.com. Since in the webinar we are not allowing the others to come online, so you can write my email, because or in the Facebook and YouTube I will see it and I'll answer them. So I thank the Swamiji, Swami Vivekananda. I thank Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. I thank Sharda Devi, and I thank Mata, Pita, Guru, Dr. Badrinath, my friend and philosopher guide, Mr. Shivanandan, and God. And I thank God for the opportunity, and I also apologize for the late information of this my talk on my message for. Can I have the mobile? Can I have the mobile? My talk was I actually decided, because I saw our Prime Minister and Governor Kiran Bedi addressing today, and I also thought I should address the youth, because a lot of youth, I know they are all young doctors are practicing, but I'm sure they can watch the YouTube, and please write to me after listening. I know it's a little long talk, but my suggestion is please go through it. If not today, whenever you have time. So I want to conclude here, like my talk is the message of Swami Vivekananda for modern youth, and that's what I conveyed the message. I hope that well, people have picked up points, and I know myself in my learning, whatever I mentioned is not easy to pick up because you have to imbibe and then practice. So, my dear youth of India and doctors, friends, and whoever, request you to go through it. If not this YouTube, or read wherever you can, visit Ramakrishna Math or any place, and then you can also learn solitude, as Shardamal said. And please be in touch. And I thank the entered Mr. Kishore Masurkar, Mr. Nikhil Masurkar, my hospital staff, Shubha, Dr. Radhika, Dr. Aishwarya, Sir Samir, who has helped in IT. And I finally thank all my patients for allowing me to both do the service through by spirituality and also physically operating. Yesterday, we had a webinar, and with the Dr. Devi Shetty, we had interacting, and he was saying if any cardiac surgeon says that because of his dexterity and the skill, the surgeon, the patient is doing well. He says, I challenge him, he's wrong. He says it's because of the God's blessing. So when I realized, read Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18, the last chapter, in verse around 55, 58, Krishna says, you can take me in and do everything will go perfect. So I pray just before I start surgery that I'm getting God in me and the God is operating and I'm working only as an instrument. Thank you very much. And I salute Mother India. Thank you. And thanks to Entered and specifically Mr. Rahul and Vivek Tiwari for the live transmission and YouTube and Facebook. So I thank the YouTube viewers, Facebook viewers, and also the future viewers. Thank you very much.